Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. So in this particular video, I will be discussing to you the VAT imposed on sale of goods as well as sale of services, specifically those under sections 106A, 106B, and 108A of the tax code. Okay? So let's proceed. So, di ba in our previous videos, okay, paulit-ulit nating diniscuss that every time you sell goods or properties, including sale of service, as well as list of properties, and if those were made in the ordinary course of trade or business, such sale will be subject to VAT. So basically, ito ngayon yung dinidiscuss natin. Parang inuulit lang natin yung mga nakaraang videos natin. But, of course, the only difference in this particular video is that we are going to compute. Okay? How are we going to compute the VAT? And what are those considered goods or services in this particular sections of the tax code? So, as you can see in this slide provided, okay, in your screen, the coverage of value-added tax ay sale of goods, sale of properties, including transaction deemed sale na i-discuss natin mamaya, sale of services, plus importation. So, alam na natin yan di ba? Kasi sa first video pa lang na-discuss na natin yan. Second video, na-discuss din natin yan. So, doon sa introduction to business taxation, na-discuss na natin tong mga to. However, in this particular video, we will be focusing on sale. Okay? Nung 3 items na yan, sale of goods, transaction deemed sale, saka yung sale of service. Pero, hindi pa muna natin isasama sa video na to yung export sale. So therefore, the sale that we are going to discuss in this particular video will pertain to domestic sale of goods or services under sections 106A, 106B, and 108A of the tax code. Okay? Paano naman sir yung sale of properties, particularly real properties? I will cover that in a separate video. Ganun din yung importation. Yung sa importation, I will cover that sa topic na input VAT. Kasi meron tayong input VAT on importation. So again, this particular video will focus on sale of goods, domestic sale of goods, and domestic sale of services, including yung transaction deemed sale. Okay. So, therefore, what are the items that will fall under sale of goods? Okay. So, in section 106, paragraph A, subparagraph 1 of the tax code, ito nakalagay. The term goods or properties shall mean. So, pag sinabi daw nating sale of goods, sale of properties, ito ang mga magfo-fall doon. Yeah. So, nakalagay dyan, shall mean all tangible and intangible objects which are capable of pecuniary estimation and shall include. Okay? So, bago natin basahin yung mga enumerations under this particular section of the tax code, yan lang ang basahin mo muna for the meantime. Dito tayo mag-focus. The term goods or properties shall mean all tangible and intangible objects, okay, which are capable of pecuniary estimation. Okay? So, kung i-simplify natin, balikan mo yung mga nakarang videos natin. Sabi nga natin kanina, di ba? Basta nagbenta ka ng goods or property, and the sale was made in the ordinary course of trade or business, subject sa VAT yan unless exempt. At pansinin mo, all. Napaka all-encompassing siya, di ba? So, all tangible and intangible objects. So, dahil ginamitan ng all na terminology, lumalabas itong mga enumerations mo, hindi ito all-inclusive. Lumalabas parang example lang tong mga to. Kasi lahat daw lahat daw ng goods or property, unless of course exempt under the law. At na-discuss na natin yung mga VAT exempt sales and transactions, di ba? So, the moment that the good that you are selling, the property that you are selling will not fall under the exempt sale, then obviously it will be subject to VAT. Ano ba ibig sabihin nung capable of pecuniary estimation? Ibig sabihin, pwede mo siyang ibenta may halaga. Okay? Kasi VAT ang topic natin on the value added. So dapat capable of pecuniary estimation. And shall include real properties held primarily for sale. Kasi di ba paulit-ulit na nga tayo sa several videos natin, dapat the sale was made primarily in the ordinary course of trade or business. Although it include incidental transaction, di ba? Kaya real properties held primarily for sale to customers. Kasi di ba, sa mga previous videos, if the real property that you sold was not held for sale or for lease in the ordinary course of trade or business, capital asset yon. Pag binenta mo yun, capital gains tax yun. Remember? During our discussion sa VAT exempt sales and transaction. Kaya napaka-importante na the sale was made in the ordinary course of trade or business. Okay? And again, I will be providing you a separate video on VAT imposed on real properties. Okay? You also have here the right or the privilege to use patent, copyright, design or model, plan, secret formula, process, goodwill, trademark, trade brand, or other like property or right. Pwede mong isingit dyan halimbawa, ikaw si Jollibee. Ikaw si Jollibee. Maliban sa pag-ooperate natural ng mga Jollibee stores mo, outlets, syempre you allow third parties, di ba? Mga franchises to operate. So, halimbawa, nag-franchise ako sa'yo. Ikaw si Jollibee, ako si Tabag, nag-franchise sa'yo. Kunwari, Ritz ako, kunwari lang. So, I will be paying you franchise fee, di ba? Hindi mo naman ako binentahan ng chicken, di ba? I will be paying you franchise fee. You will be charging me franchise fee. Okay? So, I will now be allowed to operate a Jollibee store, di ba? Under our franchise agreement. So, yung franchise fee mo na yon, subject sa VAT yun. Okay? Kasama dyan sa listahan yun. Okay? So, when we say goods or properties, it covers not only tangible items, but also intangible items under this particular section of the tax code. Okay? The right or the privilege to use in the Philippines of any industrial, commercial, scientific equipment. In the Philippines kasi na-discuss natin, di ba, na we follow the cross-border doctrine or kung minsan tinatawag siyang destination principle that VAT shall be imposed only if the sale of goods, property, or service was made in the Philippines. Pag yan ay nangyari sa ibang bansa, that will not be subject to VAT under the cross-border doctrine, di ba? The right or privilege to use motion pictures, tapes, discs, radio, television, satellite, etc. Okay? So again, simplify natin. When we say sale of goods or properties, we pertain to all tangible and intangible objects which are capable of pecuniary estimation unless natural if exempt under the law. Okay? So, yun lang naman ang ibig sabihin ng Section 106, Paragraph A. So, tingnan mo yung first paragraph mo. Magkano naman, sir, ang VAT rate? O, nakalagay dyan, no? Equivalent to 12% of what? Of the gross selling price or gross value in money. So, pag nagbenta tayo ng goods, or services in the ordinary course of trade or business, in this particular problem, in this particular section pala, 106A, goods, okay? So, pag nagbenta tayo ng goods or properties, that sale will be subject to 12% VAT of what? Of the selling price or the gross value in money of the goods or property. Provided, again, the sale was made in the ordinary course of trade or business. So, ano ibig sabihin, sir, ng selling price? Okay. Under this particular section also, right after the enumerations under subparagraph 1, may nakalagay, the term gross selling price means the total amount of money or its equivalent which the purchaser pays or is obligated to pay to the seller in consideration of the sale, barter, or exchange of the goods or properties, excluding the VAT. However, the excise tax, if any, na-discuss natin ang excise tax previously, di ba? On such goods or properties shall form part of the gross selling price. Let's simplify. Yung ito 12% VAT mo, selling price, plus excise tax if applicable, but prior to the imposition of the VAT. So, wag mong isama yung VAT. Halimbawa, ako si Jollibee ulit. Ang selling price ko without the VAT is 100 pesos. Oh, yung 12% i-multiply mo sa 100. Wag mo munang patungan ng 12%, then mag-multiply ka ng 12%. No. The 12% shall be computed based on the selling price plus excise tax if applicable without adding first the value added tax. So, we exclude the VAT. Kaya madalas tinatanong kung minsan sa mga quizzes nyo, mga exams, maybe even in the board exam. So, tinatanong kung minsan, alin sa mga sumusunod ang hindi kasama sa term na selling price? Di ba ang sagot palagi doon ay VAT? Kasi pansinin mo, ang VAT is a separate account. Sa halimbawa, journalize natin para mas makita natin. Sa halimbawa, we sell goods in the ordinary course of trade. The selling price without VAT is 100 pesos. Okay, bebenta na ako. So, magkano ibabayad mo sa akin? Di ba, 112 pesos? So, 100 na selling price, saka 12 pesos na VAT. Let's journalize. Ano entry? Di ba, debit cash, 112. Credit sales. The credit to sales is your selling price. So, credit to sales, credit to output VAT. Kaya hindi kasama ang VAT sa selling price. Hiwalay siya na account. The sales account is a revenue account or income account. Okay? While the output VAT is a liability account. Nasaan na sir si excise tax? The excise tax will form part of the cost of the goods that you sold eh. Kaya kasama na siya sa selling price. Okay? Okay. Let's illustrate how to compute. So, meron tayo dito, computation of VAT on sale of goods. May dalawa akong present, the tax-exclusive method and the tax-inclusive method. Ibig sabihin lang, how do we compute the VAT kung hindi pa kasama sa halaga na binanggit yung VAT? And the other one is, how do we compute the VAT kung kasama na sa halaga yung VAT? Normally, dito nagkakaroon ng problema ang mga estudyante, mga reviewees. Sir, if silent, kasama ba yung VAT doon sa amount? Tingnan mo to ha. Sabi nga ng 106A subparagraph 1, di ba? Hindi kasama ang VAT sa selling price, right? Kaya dapat, pag binanggit lang sa problem, halimbawa, problem solving nyo sa quiz nyo, exam, okay? Nakalagay lang doon na data, selling price 1 million. Selling price. Di ba selling price is exclusive of the VAT? O dapat hindi siya kasama. Kaya generally, tax-exclusive method ang gamit eh. Okay? Unless, napakaliwanag sa problem na sinabi, selling price inclusive of the VAT. Ano pang pag-aawayan natin kung ganun? Napakaliwanag naman sinabi, inclusive of the VAT. O kaya sinabing, okay, selling price Yung style ng iba, selling price, comma, gross amount. O kaya open and close, gross. Pag ganon, they are actually trying to indicate that the amount provided in the problem is inclusive of the VAT. Okay, sir, paano naman kung invoice price? Ay, yan, kung minsan medyo nagkakaroon na naman tayo ng medyo pagkakaiba ng mga pananaw. Pag sinabi mo kasing invoice value, di ba nandoon na lahat? Kaya ang invoice value, magkano yung nandoon sa invoice? Di ba nandoon na pati yung VAT? Kaya kung ako tatanungin nyo, when you say invoice value, the value provided shall be inclusive of the VAT. But, kung ang sabi lang sa problem ay sales, sales account, selling price, it must be exclusive. Kasi napakaliwanag sa 106A subparagraph 1 that the selling price is exclusive of the VAT. Siyempre, pag sinabi mong sales na account, we pertain to the selling price, right? Ano ba credit mo na sales? Di ba? Yung selling price? Oh. Okay. So, let's proceed. So, how do we compute the VAT kapag hindi pa kasama sa value na prinobide yung VAT? Di ba sabi nga sa section na to na ang VAT is 12% of the selling price. So, limbawa, in your screen, the gross sales in a day is 100,000. Pag tinanong magkano VAT, di multiply mo lang ng 12%. Gross sales Gross sales. That's the credit to your sales account. At napakaliwanag na ang sales account is exclusive of the VAT. So you just multiply it by 12%. As simple as that. Madali nga lang ang tax, di ba? Ano nga lang to, basta alam mo kung ano yung, halimbawa sa VAT, alam mo kung ano yung iba-VAT mo. Alam mo kung saan mo i-multiply yung 12% rate. Oh, di ba? Okay. Paano naman, sir, kung ang ginamit ay sales inclusive of, o kaya sales nakalagay gross, o kaya invoice value. So kung gano'n, ang ibig sabihin, yung halagang binigay sa'yo, kasama na yung VAT. Dalawa na ang component pag gano'n. The selling price and the VAT. O edi kung gano'n, halimbawa in our problem, 112,000 gross sales, tax inclusive. Halimbawa, binanggit sa problem na inclusive of the VAT. Ang ibig sabihin, that is representing 112%. Anong 112%, sir? 100% for the selling price plus 12% VAT. So that amount is equivalent to 112%. So how do we compute the VAT kung ganon? There are three ways. So pinakita ko lang sa inyo dyan yung pamamaraan. Actually, if you have another way to compute it, pwede siguro yon as long as you arrive at the same amount. But basically, itong tatlong to ang pinakasikat. So, una, hindi ko naman sinasabing ito ang pinakasikat, yung una. So, since that is 112%, tayong mga accountants, ang gagaling natin dyan Pag 112% yan, gusto mong tanggalin yung 12% niya, i-divide mo ng 1.12, di ba? So, 112,000, you divide it by 1.12. Tanggal na yung doon, 12%. So, ang natitira na lang, 100%. Di ba sabi natin yung 100% na yon will represent the sale. So, 112,000 divided by 1.12, 100,000 lalabas. And that is already the selling price exclusive of the VAT. Saka ka mag-multiply ng 12%. You will come up with 12,000 na halaga. And that is the VAT. Kung gusto mo, balik tayo sa 112,000 represents 112%. Kung 112%, 12 yung VAT, di pwedeng 12 over 112. Parang 12 para kay VAT, but the total of the amount is 112. Kaya siya times 12 over 112. Di ba? Or the other way is the least common denominator. So, you multiply it by 3 over 28. That's the LCD, right? Okay. If you have other way, other method to compute or extract the tax, if the amount provided in the problem is inclusive of the VAT, then you may do so. Provided, tama yan ha. Okay? Yan. So, yun lang naman. So, VAT on sale of goods, 12%, sir. So, how do we compute? Edi selling price, sir, times 12%. As simple as that. Okay? Okay, next. So, In computing the output VAT, di ba, dalawang klase ang VAT, na-discuss na natin yan from our previous videos. We have the VAT on the sale, that's the output VAT. VAT on your purchases, that's your input VAT. And we will discuss input VAT in a separate video also. Okay? So, kung titingnan mo yung formula natin sa pag-compute ng i-remit na VAT sa BIR, we start from output VAT, that's the VAT on our sale. Then we deduct the input VAT, kasi 'di ba maalala nyo, diniscuss natin sa introduction, sa characteristics of VAT, that VAT is considered credit invoice method, remember? That we deduct from our output VAT, the VAT on our purchases. Kaya, in computing the VAT payable natin, after computing the output VAT, we deduct the input VAT. Then we come up with the VAT payable. Okay? Kung positive ang lalabas, kung mas mataas ang output VAT. So, isa sa mga technique para mapadali sa inyo ang topic na VAT, maliban sa pag-memorize ng mga VAT-exempt sales and transactions, maliban sa pag-memorize ng mga subjects sa percentage taxes, you must know saan mo huhugutin ang output VAT. Saan manggagaling ang output VAT mo. Kasi, di ba, output VAT less input VAT equals VAT payable. So, kung alam mo kung saan mo kukunin ang mga output VAT, alam mo kung saan mo kukunin ang mga input VAT mo, o edi ang daling computein ng VAT payable. Okay? So, as you can see in your screen, the output VAT will come from actual sale of goods or services, and that is our topic in this particular video. Transaction deemed sale, we will cover that also in our video. Then we have the zero-rated sale or export sale. We will cover that in a separate video. So, tatlo ang panggagalingan ng output VAT natin. Domestic sale of goods or services, including properties. Then we have the transaction deemed sale, and we have the export sale. But again, in this particular video, we will focus first on sale of goods, sale of services, saka transaction deemed sale. And as you can see, basis, pansinin mo, basis of the 12% VAT. Kung sale of goods, our basis is gross sales. Kung sale of service, the basis is collection. Tinatawag ding gross receipts. So, saan natin i-multiply si 12%? Generally, gross sales, sir. But actually, you use the term gross sales if we pertain to sale of goods. But if we pertain to sale of service, the 12% shall be based on gross receipts or collections. Okay, let's illustrate. The other basis will be discussed in a separate video. Okay, let's illustrate. Sale of goods. Si Kasangkapan Corporation ay VAT-registered dealer ng appliances. Oh, alam mo na kaagad ang consequence. VAT-registered, di ba? Na-discuss na natin yan sa VAT registration. Okay? So, VAT-registered siya. So, basically, lahat ng sales niya subject sa VAT. The company provided the following data for the last quarter of 2021. 2021 na ginamit ko na illustration para hindi natin gamitin ang 2020. Medyo hindi naging maganda ang umpisa, no? Although, let's all pray and let's all hope na matapos na lahat. And right after this COVID-19, puro blessings naman ang papasok, di ba? So, let's stay positive anyway. So, let's proceed. Balikan natin. Positive sa outlook ka, not positive sa COVID-19. So, again, Kasangkapan Corporation ay VAT-registered dealer ng appliances. So, ito yung mga data. Sales niya, 5.6. Invoice value. Ano ibig sabihin? Kasama na dyan ang VAT. Purchases, net of input tax. Okay? And then you have the deferred VAT from the third quarter mo. Sige. So, before we compute the VAT payable, di ba sabi natin kanina, ang VAT is characterized also by credit invoice method. So, ano ulit ibig sabihin nun? Sa third video natin na shinare, ang ibig sabihin nun, sir, yung input VAT ng mga binili mo, ide-deduct mo sa output VAT ng binenta mo. Yung sobra ng output VAT over input VAT, yun lang ang ireremit mo, sir, sa BIR. So, na-discuss na natin yan. So, paano, sir, kung mas malaki ang input VAT? So, kung mas malaki ang input VAT, do you remember our discussion sa VAT exempt sale and transaction regarding export sale? So, ang pwede mong i-refund na input VAT ay yung tungkol sa export sale. If hindi maliwanag na galing yan sa input VAT ng mga in-export mo, then the VAT attributable to that, input VAT attributable to your sale, kung mas malaki siya, hindi mo pwedeng i-refund. Ano lang pwede mong gawin? I-carry over. Pwede mong i-claim sa next quarter. Okay? Kagaya dito sa problem na to, fourth quarter ito na transaction. Pero sabi sa problem, noong nakaraang quarter, third quarter, may deferred input VAT. Ibig sabihin, noong third quarter, mas malaki ang input VAT. So, negative ang VAT payable last quarter. Anong pwede mong gawin doon? I-carry over sa susunod na quarter. Kaya treated lang siya kagaya ng input VAT. Okay? So, that's how we do it. So, let's compute then. So, start tayo sa output VAT. So, output VAT. And since inclusive of VAT yung figure, tatlong pamamaraan mo, di ba? Pwedeng divide by 1.12 times 12%. Pwedeng times 12 over 112. Pwedeng times 3 over 28. So, in this particular problem, the amount of the VAT is 600,000. That's your VAT on sale. Okay. Of goods. Pag goods tayo, it's not based on collections, ha? It's based on sale. Gross sale. Next, less input VAT. Sir, bakit times 12% lang yung input VAT? Kasi sa problem natin, as you can see, net of input tax. So, yung 3,500,000, hindi kasama dyan yung VAT. Dahil hindi kasama dyan yung VAT, multiply mo lang siya ng 12%. Kaya 3.5 times 12%. And then again, yung deferred input VAT mo ng nakaraang quarter ay i-carry over mo ngayong quarter. And based on the problem provided, 30,000 yon, so 30,000. So mas malaki pa rin yung output VAT mo ng 150. So the VAT payable will be 150,000. Yan ang ireremit natin sa BIR. Oh, madali lang naman, di ba? That is your sale of goods. VAT on sale of goods. Okay. How about sale of services? Sale of services is in section 108A of the tax code. Section 108A of the tax code. Sir, akala ko ba 106A, 106B, saka 108A ang i-discuss mo? Since medyo related yung 106A saka B, yun na munang pagsamahin natin. Okay? So, kumbaga, parang ano lang naman ito eh. Yung sa sale of goods, minultiply mo sa gross sales. Yung sale of service, sabi natin kanina, multiply mo sa gross receipts. So, ito yon. So, ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng sale of services? What will be included in the term sale or exchange of services? Kagaya kanina, di ba? Sale of goods. Lahat ng sale of goods kasama. Basta yan ay hindi exempt under the law. And pwede siyang, meron siyang, capable siya ng pecuniary estimation, di ba? So, sa services naman, ito siya under section 108A, subparagraph 1. Nakalagay dyan, the phrase sale or exchange of services means the performance, ganun ulit, of all kinds of services. Pardon me with the PowerPoint. Or pala nalagay ko dyan. Off yan, ha. Babalikan ko. The phrase sale or exchange of services means the performance of all kinds of services. Hindi ko na ulitin to, ha. Yan na yun. Pasensya na. Okay. Pinantok na siguro ako. So, nakalagay dyan. Balikan natin. The sale or exchange of services means the performance of all kinds of services in the Philippines. So lahat daw ng klase ng services rendered in the Philippines in the ordinary course of trade or business natural. So all kinds. So yung mga i-enumerate ng paragraph na to o ng section na to ng tax code lumalabas parang ano lang, parang mga examples lang. So kagaya ng bayad, remuneration, consideration, including those performed or rendered by construction and service contractors, stock, real estate, commercial, custom, immigration brokers, lessors of property, blah, blah, blah. So, I think, basahin mo na lang yan. Tingnan mo sa baba, except those under section 119. Kasi prior to that term, ginamit yung franchise. Kasi sa section 119 of the tax code, sa percentage tax, di ba, sa percentage tax under section 119, franchise tax on gas and water, saka yung radio, television, broadcasting company, di ba? At sinabi natin sa mga previous videos natin that the moment the service is subject to percentage tax, it cannot be subjected anymore to VAT and vice versa. Parang lumalabas lang dyan, saglit lang kung yan ay subject sa percentage tax, wag nang i-VAT. Or unless exempt under the law, di ba? Malala mo. So, yun lang naman. So, kung sale of goods, so binanggit na natin kung ano ang magpo-fall sa term na goods. Sale of service, binanggit na natin kung ano magpo-fall sa terminology na service. Napaka-importante nung term dyan na all all kinds. Okay. So, let's try to compute the VAT on sale of service. So, EDT consultancy services, yan ulit, VAT registered ulit. Kanina, seller of goods. This time around, seller of service. Professional fees. So, the revenues amounted to 5.6. Alam mo naman siguro ibig sabihin ng revenue na earn na yan. Siyempre, mga accountants tayo, di ba? Earned na yan. We already rendered the services. However, sabi natin kanina, pagdating sa VAT, ang VAT on services will be based on gross receipts, not on revenues. Kaya pag nag-compute tayo ng output VAT, ang gagamitin mo na figure dyan sa problem provided ay 4,704,000 instead of 5.6. Then you have purchase of supplies. So, di ba, ang input VAT ay VAT on purchases. Ang laki naman, sir, ng supplies mo. Sample lang naman to. Illustration lang. Then we have deferred input VAT. Na-discuss na natin yan in our first illustration. So, therefore, how do we compute the VAT payable? O, di-start ka sa 4,704,000. Dahil gross ang nakalagay, edi either i-multiply mo ng 12/112 or i-divide mo muna ng 1.12 then multiply by 12% or you can multiply it by 3/28, di ba? So, 4,704,000 times 3/28, so that's the output VAT on sale of service based on collections or gross receipts. Ano ba talaga, sir? Gross receipts, collections. Dapat pareho yung dalawa. Yan. And then, input VAT. Pansinin mo yung input VAT mo. Yung kasing input VAT natin nanggaling sa supplies. So, hindi komo yung output VAT mo, galing sa collection mo, hindi rin automatic na yung input VAT mo galing lang din sa binayad mo. Ganito yon. Kung ang output VAT on sale of goods ay based sa gross sales, kung ang output VAT sa sale of service ay based on receipts, baliktarin mo lang sa input VAT. Input VAT tayo. Sandali, ano ba binili ko? Goods, sir. Edi, gross purchases. Ano ba binili mo? Sir, services, nagpa-subcon ako Kasi sir, ako ay contractor. May mga services na di ko kayang i-provide, so nagpa-subcon ako. Di nag-purchase ka ng service. Dapat ang input VAT mo, based naman siya sa payment mo. Sir, EDT Consultancy Services, pwede bang magkaroon ng input VAT yan na based sa payment? Oo. Limbawa, may problema sa office. So, kailangang i-repair. May kailangang i-repair sa office. I-repair na yung sa opisina. I-repair yung opisina. So, I will be needing services of a labor contractor, di ba? In that case, ang input VAT ko will be based on my payment to them. Binil na niya ako. Hindi pa naman sila tapos. So, based on our contract, 15% muna babayad ko. So, I paid 50%. Yun muna ang kukunin kong input VAT. Doon sa payment ko. So, ganun lang naman. Simple, di ba? Pag sale of goods, yung output VAT mo ay based on gross sales. Pag sale of service, yung output VAT mo ay based on gross receipts. Pag purchase of goods, yung input VAT mo ay based on gross purchases. Kung purchase of services, yung input VAT mo ay based on payment. Di ba simple? At alam mo naman na yung deferred input VAT, di ba, na kine-carry over. Okay? Unless that pertains to input VAT on export sale, zero-rated sale. Okay? Didiscuss natin yan sa separate video. Although partially, we discussed that already under VAT-exempt sales and transactions. I hope na aalala nyo. So, in this particular problem, mas malaki pa rin ang output VAT. So, therefore, yung excess ng output VAT ang i-remit sa BIR, 44,000. So, I hope maliwanag. That is your section 106A, subparagraph 1, and 108A of the tax code. The sale of goods and the sale of services. Okay, next. Balikan mo si sale of goods. Balikan natin si sale of goods under section 106 of the tax code. Dalawang klase yan. We have the actual sale, transaction deemed sale. And that is covered under section 106B of the tax code. So, ulitin ko. Pag sinabi mong sale of goods, actually, dalawa yan. The actual sale of goods, actual, nagbenta ka talaga in the ordinary course. And the other one is transaction deemed sale, covered under section 106B of the tax code. So, kabaliktaran ng actual sale. Yung sa actual sale, nagbenta ka talaga. Sa transaction deemed sale, you really did not sell. However, these transactions under this particular section of the tax code shall be considered sale in the ordinary course. Although sa totoong buhay, hindi ka nagbenta. Kaya nga, pakinggan mo, transaction deemed sale. Deemed sale. As if sale, di ba? But actually, there was no sale. Pero under the law, it will be as if sale yan. So, dahil as if sale, provided, or in relation naman ito sa negosyo, under section 106B, then subject sa value-added tax yan. So, certain transactions which are not actually sales because of the absence of actual exchange between the buyer and the seller are considered or included in the term sale for VAT purposes. So, tanong, ano-ano itong mga to? I-memorize mo din ito, ha? So, memorize VAT exempt, memorize percentage taxes, memorize transaction deemed sale, sa separate video, memorize export sales. Naku, pag na-memorize mo yung mga, imposible namang di mo kayang sagutin ang tanong sa VAT, di ba? Sige, so isa-isahin natin. Ano-ano ang mga transactions considered as transactions deemed sale under our tax code? Again, under sections 106B of the tax code. May 4 under the tax code. Una, so again, memorize this. Pwede namang hindi verbatim, di ba? Basta pag na-encounter mo sa problem, you know very well that that is included in the list of transaction deemed sale. Okay. So, first item, transfer, use, or consumption, not in the course of business of goods or properties originally intended for sale or for use in the course of business. Transfer of goods or properties not in the course of business can take place when VAT registered person withdraws goods from his business for his personal use. Or doon ka lang sa first sentence niya, transfer, use, consumption, not in the course of business of goods or properties, originally intended for sale or for use in the course of business. Pag medyo nalabuan ka doon, let's simplify. Let's simplify. Tagalog ko. Ganito lang siya, oh. Pag transfer. Kasi hindi tayo nagbenta dito eh. Pag transfer, paggamit, pag-consume sa hindi normal na pamamaraan ng mga pambenta in the ordinary course, nor for use in business. Example, ikaw si San Miguel Corporation. San Miguel Corporation tayo ulit. Nagmamanufacture ka, yung illustration natin ng mga nakaraan. San Mig Light. So, siyempre, aside from manufacturing San Mig Light, di ba, your intention is to sell it in the ordinary course. Okay, October ngayon, di Oktoberfest ngayon. So, etong mga San Mig Light na to, pambenta mo tong mga to di ba? Itong mga San Mig Light na to, pambenta mo kaso, dahil Oktoberfest, alam ng mga tao pag Oktoberfest, libre o kaya sobrang discounted. So, doon na tayo sa libre. So, ang ginawa mo ngayon, ikaw si San Miguel Corporation, instead na ibenta mo itong mga San Mig Light na to, inilibre mo, ipinamigay mo for free. Pasok yan sa number 1 na transaction deemed sale. Pambenta siya in the ordinary course pero di mo binenta. Transfer mo siya, ginamit mo, kinonsume mo, not in the course of business. Ipinahingi mo. Pasok yan sa transaction deemed sale. Okay. Or, bumili ka na ng aircon. Gamit sa negosyo. Kaso hindi akma yung size. Binenta mo tuloy. Wag nang ibenta. Kasi nga, di ba? Transfer, use, consumption. Pinamigay mo na lang tuloy. O kaya ginamit mo na lang sa bahay nyo. Okay? O in that case, that will be considered transaction deemed sale because that was originally intended to be used in business. Tapos hindi mo ginamit. Pinahingi mo, kinonsume mo, transfer mo sa ibang pamamaraan. That's the first item under transaction deemed sale. Sir, why do we need to treat it as transaction deemed sale? So actually, ito ang dahilan kung bakit kailangan itrato yung mga yan na transaction deemed sale. Una, bakit una? Hindi naman wala naman itong pangalawa, pangatlo. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit kailangan i-consider yung mga yan na transaction deemed na sale kahit hindi ka talaga nagbenta. Kasi, na-claiman mo na ng input VAT yung mga yan. Balikan mo si San Mig Light. Natural, bago mo napahingi yun. Nag-manufacture ka di ba? Nung nag-manufacture ka, bumili ka ng mga raw materials, supplies, etc. So, yung pagbili mo ng mga raw materials mo, pagbili mo ng mga supplies mo, nagka-input VAT ka doon. Di nag-claim ka na ng input VAT mo. Nag-debit ka na ng input VAT mo. Tapos ngayon, wala kang credit sa output VAT dahil pinahingi mo. Unfair sa gobyerno. Nag-claim ka ng input VAT, tapos wala ka na mga output VAT. Kumbaga, give and take. Give and take. Okay? So, na-claiman na kasi ng input VAT yung mga yan. Tapos, di-dispose mo lang na wala man lang output VAT. Maglagay tayo ng output VAT. Yun ang rasyonale kung bakit yan ay transaction deemed sale. Kung bakit yang mga yan. Tinan mo yung number 2. Gawin mo lang example sa San Miglite para madali. Shareholder ka. Instead na ang ibigay sa'yo na dividendo pera. Ang ibinigay na dividend, 10 10-wheeler truck na San Miglite. Shareholders or investors share in the profit. Di ba? Yan yung share mo sa dividend mo dapat yan. Ginawang dividend. So therefore, pag ginawang dividend, it must be treated as sale. Although, hindi ka talaga nagbenta. Provided yung mga yan ay originally intended for sale or for use in business. Ganun din yung instead na binenta mo, instead na ginamit mo, pinambayad mo ng utang. That's number 2. Transfer to creditors in payment of debt. Kasama din sa listahan yung consignment of goods, provided lagpas na ng 60 days. Nagpa-consign ka, syempre alam na alam nating mga accountants, di ba, na yung pina-consign mo, goods consigned out, okay, on consignment. Alam na alam natin yan bilang mga accountants na hindi mo pa yan sale. Parte lang yan ng inventory mo. Unless nag-report na yung consignee mo na sold na, di ba? However, sabi ng tax code of, sandali lang. Pag masyadong matagal na yan, lagpas 60 days na. Wala kaming pakialam kung nabenta na ng consignee o hindi. Basta lagpas 60 days na, deemed sale transaction. And the last item is pertaining to retirement from or cessation of business with respect to all goods on hand, whether capital goods, stock in trade, supplies or materials as of the date of such retirement or cessation, whether or not the business is continued by the new owner or successor. So, kung medyo di mo na-gets yan, ang technique kasi sa tax, sabi ko nga palagi sa mga estudyante natin, reviewees, you try na i-translate sa Tagalog. Okay. At para di kayo natatakot sa tax, pag ganyang mahahaba yung binabasa nyo, wag yung habang binabasa nyo, kinakabahan kayo. Habang kinakabahan kayo, di nyo na naiintindihan yung binabasa nyo. Medyo unfair tayo kung minsan sa tax Pag medyo di mo naintindihan sa unang basa mo, ayaw mo na. Nilagay mo na sa utak mo na ang hirap-hirap ng tax. Samantalang pag odd prob yan, di naman ganun ang mindset nyo. Pag odd prob, nahirapan ka sa problem, na-challenge ka, dapat ganun din kasi gawin mo sa tax. So anyway, balikan natin yung last item sa listahan ng transaction deemed sale. Ang ibig lang sabihin nito ay ganito. Kung yung negosyo ay magli-liquidate na, okay, magsisis na ng operation. Di ba, alam naman natin na sa liquidation process, dissolution, liquidation, di ba, you dissolve, you liquidate. Ang isa sa mga proseso doon is you sell everything, di ba? You sell everything. And then yung napagbentahan mo, pambayad mo ng utang mo, whatever, and then whatever is left, ibabalik sa mga shareholders, di ba? So in short, ibebenta mo lahat yan. Kung yung ibinenta mong yan ay inventory mo, di ba naklaiman mo ng input VAT yan? Di dapat may output VAT. Ganon din yung mga goods for use for business. So, retirement from or cessation of business with respect to lahat ng goods on hand. Whether capital goods, stock in trade, supplies, or material. Yung capital goods dyan pertaining to the PPE. Whether capital goods, stock in trade, supplies, or materials as of the date of such retirement cessation, whether or not the business is continued by the new owner or successor. Deemed sale yan. Kasi naklaiman mo ng mga input VAT yan So when you transfer, you dispose it must be treated as sale. Para fair. Naklaiman mo ng input VAT, and then may corresponding output VAT para sa disposal mo. Para may mapuntang pera sa gobyerno. Para may pondo, di ba? So, those are the sale of goods under Section 106A, transaction deemed sale under Section 106B, and sale of service under Section 108A of the Tax Code. So, I hope maliwanag. I hope I was able to simplify to you those topics. So again, thank you for subscribing. Kung nagustuhan nyo naman, i-click nyo ng konti yung like para mas lalo tayong ma-inspire to share to you videos pertaining to taxation. Okay? So kung hindi pa kayo nakapag-subscribe at natuwa naman kayo, why not subscribe, di ba? So again, thank you, stay safe, and God bless us all. Okay?